Hey, what is good, guys? My name is DFree, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super episode review, in which today I will be reviewing for you guys episode number 49. This I'm going to dub as the most racist episode of Dragon Ball Super. I mean, they did it so many times, it was just hilarious, man. Like, I was gonna say it wasn't funny, but it was hilarious. I can't even lie. So, like, there were times where they were just like, oh, you're that black guy. No, what did they say? So, I'm not gonna recap the episode, man, like I always say nowadays. If you're watching the review, I hope you guys have seen it. So, before I get into the review, let me know what your favorite part of the episode is and why. And one other thing I wanted to really talk about here, or just kind of point out really quickly, is Mark and I dropped a video a couple of days ago where we theorized on what, or no, excuse me, well, that's one of the videos, but what I'm talking about here today is we dropped a video the other day where we theorized whether or not Goku knows Goku Black. Excuse me, Goku Black knows who Goku is. It's all over the place. But no, so I'm gonna leave that in the description for you guys. Go ahead and check that out. Show Mark some love over there. But anyways, let me know what your favorite part of the episode is and why. Was it the fighting? Was it some of the comedy? What was it? Was it the interaction? What was it? So getting into the review, I'm not going to summarize once again. Basically, what happens is Trunks wakes up, he fights Goku. That's the episode. There's a lot of comedy and a lot of explanation. I always love it when Dragon Ball Super at least tries to explain things. I'm not going to get into nitpicking here. Like, there are things that they explain and throughout the episode that's just kind of like, why, how, I'm not going to get into it here, but I appreciate the effort because it's so often, it seems like with this show, where they don't even try to explain or give context or say, hey, this happens or this, that. Like, a lot of drop lines, you could say one line of dialogue to avoid issues, and they don't try. So, like, I'm happy with this episode and the things that they did. So they basically opened up by giving us a lot of context into what happened, or some context into what happened with Trunks in his timeline. One of the big points of this episode is Goku makes it a point to say, hey, what happened over there? Did Majin Buu show up? And Trunks was like, no, Majin Buu didn't show up because, I did the smart thing, right? I killed Deborah and Babidi before they were able to even resurrect Majin Buu. Oh, all right. And people are probably wondering, like, why did they even show up? Well, they would have showed up anyway. It wasn't because the Kamehameha clash between Gohan and Cell. They would have showed up eventually anyway, because that's just simply where Buu was. They would have shown up, and they did in that timeline. But Trunks trained with Kaioshin, the Supreme Kai, and he was able to achieve Super Saiyan 2. We don't know if that was the result of his training or whatever the case is, but Trunks is able to go Super Saiyan 2. He was able to beat them. Now, as far as power scaling, this shit's all over the place, man. All I know is that Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who had been weaker than the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan that fought Cell, was basically fighting on par with Deborah. So that means that this Super Saiyan 2 Trunks would have to be stronger than that Gohan was at that time, because he was able to easily beat Deborah. So there's that. So that's interesting. I do like that. I don't know if they'll resurrect Buu at some point later on, but a big catalyst for the resurrection of Buu in the main timeline that we're accustomed to is the fight with Goku and Vegeta. They literally selfishly did that, and that's how they got 99% of the power to basically resurrect Buu. So obviously that never happened in Trunks' timeline. So Trunks did the smart thing. He wiped him out. Trunks doesn't play, That's what he wanted to do the whole time he came back the first time. So moving on from there, Trunks, I'm just going to bounce around a bit, man. The episode kind of takes place with like a heartfelt moment where Trunks is like, oh, mom, it's you. Because if you recall, he attacked Goku, but Bulma slaps him inside the head. And she's like, what are you doing? And he realizes, oh, wait, this is Goku. I thought you were dead. And he's like, oh, well, a lot of things have happened. I'm alive now. I like that reference because obviously last time he saw Goku, he refused to be wished back to life. So, like, I like that. Like little things like that really resonate with me. So Trunks has a heartfelt moment. He's like, Mom, it's you. And then we get into the Pilaf gang again. Gotta love these guys, man. They're just like, oh, wait, it is an illegitimate child. He sees Vegeta. He's like, oh, Dad. And they're like, what, Dad? Oh, yeah, there's a scandal going on here. They're totally instigating, right? And Dragon Ball Super couldn't resist. I feel like this was misplaced, but I did enjoy it. It made me laugh. But Dragon Ball Super can't resist trying to make you laugh, even if it's misplaced. But at that point, Bulma explains that Trunks is Trunks from the future, just not really the same Trunks. But, they explain that, and Trunks is like, oh, that's me from the future. And then future Trunks is like, hey, what's going on? They talk for a second. And at that point, Mai and those guys run off, and then Trunks catches a glimpse of Mai's hair, and he watches her run away. And I swear at this point, if you guys are R&B heads or whatever, the song by Charlie Wilson, there goes my baby. He just, I just was like, damn, I could actually sing. I've been singing for like 13 years or whatever, but I'm not going to sing on the video. But no, that was that part right there just made me think of that song, because Trunks was hella staring at her. She's running off, even though she's a little kid, right? Just staring at her. So I thought that was pretty freaking funny. Another thing I did like about this episode was the way that Whis kind of explains that, yes, this is a serious offense, time traveling. And he did explain a bit of the butterfly effect, in that if you go back to the past, you change one thing, you can make everything drastically different. My only gripe with that is that Trunks created a whole nother timeline. So wouldn't that Trunks going back into this timeline, which he shouldn't be able to do anyways, but that's another thing. Going back into this time, changing this time, wouldn't that affect this time later on in the future, that butterfly effect? It wouldn't affect his future. So it's just weird, man. This whole time traveling thing Dragon Ball has chose to adapt. The way they've chosen to explain it doesn't really make sense, man. It should have just been traditional from the first place, where it's all one timeline, but they want to create multiple timelines. There's got to be 4 or 5 timelines. There should be, but there isn't, but it's just weird. Anyways, moving on from there, we get into the main action set piece of the episode, where Goku fights Trunks. He's like, hey, I want to spar with you. Obviously, Dragon Ball Super was going to do this. It's a big rematch between these guys, from the first time we saw him versus the first time he's being reintroduced to the series. Obviously, Mark said it way back. This show is fan service central. It literally just is not even just fan service central. It's also nostalgia central, where they do this stuff over and over just to kind of just wink, wink at the original series. I feel like it gets out of hand sometimes, but it is what it is. But they fight, and Trunks shows that he can go Super Saiyan 2, as I said earlier. Goku goes Super Saiyan 2, but I love how they gave him the Super Saiyan 1 hair, right? It's just little things like that, why? It's not a big deal, but why? And another thing, too, is the animation was just, honestly, it was bad. It was bad most of the episode. I'm not even going to just sugarcoat anything, especially with the standard the last couple episodes set. But from the preview for the next episode, it looks like they're going to jump back up again. So I'm happy about that, at least. I could tell this was probably just a BS episode. They were just kind of just trying to set this next few episodes up. So that's what this episode was for. So they didn't invest too much into it. I could flat out tell, because the guys went back to not looking detailed. They looked a lot just funny in general, made a lot of funny derpy faces in this episode. But they got into the fighting, and Trunks basically brushes Goku, and Goku Super Saiyan 2 as well, and he knocks him back. At that point, Goku's like, oh, let me show you something a little different. He goes Super Saiyan 3, right? And Trunks is like, wow, you found out how to ascend a Saiyan that's already ascended Super Saiyan. So it's like freaking tongue twisters, bro. So from there, Trunks comes at him with full power. Goku blocks it. Once again, nostalgia city, right? He blocks it with his fingers. He blocks his sword. And then he one-shots Trunks into the ground, and that's it. The fight's over. And Trunks pops up. He's like, hey, sorry, Black is still a little bit stronger. If not as strong, a little bit stronger. And Goku laughs at that. Here's where I get into my gripes again about power scaling. How is this Trunks Super Saiyan 2 able to compete with Goku Super Saiyan 3, which should be so freaking strong at this point? It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. What it is that this show chooses to adapt the model that all levels of the Super Saiyan form are equal, and that's an issue. It's not true. They choose to adapt that Super Saiyan 1 is equal across everybody. Super Saiyan 2 is equal across everybody, unless they explicitly state otherwise. This Trunks can't be that damn strong right now. He can't. I'm sorry. He shouldn't be, at least. He shouldn't be. God damn it. I don't know. It just makes no sense. But I'm not going to gripe about it, but I don't like the way that they do this. They sacrifice continuity for the sake of entertainment, and I don't like that. But it is what it is. It's not a big deal. Obviously they get past it. And then at the end of the episode is when Black shows up, and he's like, oh, you're son Goku. And Goku's like, oh, and you're Black. And I'm like, oh, what? I'm Black too, bro. What's the issue, right? So like I said, this episode has several moments in the end where it was just obviously they weren't trying to be racist, but it really makes me wonder. I really do anticipate a name change for this character in the English version of this show. I'm not worried about any Malaysian English or whatever it is that's coming out soon. I mean, the actual Funimation release of the show, in that it's probably going to turn to dark or something like that. I don't think it'll turn to evil, because obviously the reason why he's black, as they explained in the episode, is because his clothes are black and he identifies himself as Goku, hence why he's called Black Goku or Goku Black. It doesn't matter. So that's why. In dark kind of can't get misconstrued the same way as an evil would. Evil doesn't fit the same way. Not to say they wouldn't do it, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't really expect it. But I do fully expect a complete name overhaul for him, because like all these little lines, at least not a, even if it's not a name overhaul, because you really don't have to, because it would be a whole different thing if he's called Black Goku and he's actually black. Even if you don't have to do a name overhaul, there will be dialogue changes to where they don't say things like, oh, Trunks is strong, but he still couldn't beat that black guy. That's literally what we said. Like, what the hell is this? It was hilarious, but I was like, damn, so blatant. So like, that won't happen in the show, obviously, because they won't be able to get away with that out here. But no, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Nonetheless, longer review. I don't really mind doing it, but subscribe if you're new here. Let me know your favorite part of the episode. Once again, be sure to check out that video that me and Mark did. I really would appreciate that if you guys went over there and left him a comment and, give him some interaction over there. He's a cool guy. But no, that's it for me, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.